It is 80 degrees today. I'm in the textile jacket. I'm in my summer gloves. I'm on my summer shoes. I got my goggles on. It is nice today. It is freaking sweet. It is an awesome day! So, somebody asked me about commuting on one of these, and commuting is... beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So everybody that ever says anything bad about sport bikes, cruisers, standards, supermotos, enduros, dual sports, whatever, mini bikes, anything, it's really what you make of it. If you sit in perfect posture, you'll probably do it forever. That's my take on it. So if you're a cruiser guy and you're hunched over and your spine's in a C shape and I bounce up and down, my spine's going to compress into that C shape more a lot, thus making your back flex more, and it's just going to be shitty. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like commuting on one for very, very long periods of time. If you're on something like a supermoto, you're in the same position. If I'm always hunched over, this sucks. This sucks right now. But if I'm upright like I should be, my back is up. It's a lot, or in not a locked position, but an actual neutral position. Like as if I was standing. Have good posture, shoulders out, present to the pecs, then you'll be fine. On a sport bike, it's almost the same thing, except your feet are a little further backwards. You ride on the balls of your feet, your hips are rocked back a little. I used to ride very, very far distances on the CBR. I rode from, what was it, Seattle to Prescott, Arizona, and back within a week. So that's 3,000 miles, I think. If you sit on something how it's intended to be sat on, you probably do it for days. The thing that wears on you is how much you have to fight whatever you're doing. So a lot of people are like, the seat on a supermoto is uncomfortable. The DR is very comfortable, I will give you that. It's wider, and when you sit on a supermoto, it's a little more narrow. Riding very, 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 very far distances, you're constantly fighting against wind. And for anybody who thinks that, oh, that's not a problem, I'm not a bitch, stick your hand outside of a 70-mile-an-hour car, what does it do? Blows your hand back, right? You're constantly fighting that. So now do it for an hour. You kind of get tired of doing it, don't you? And if you're like, well, Alex, that's not the same thing. Yes, it is, because my entire torso is like a wind sail. I fight the wind all the time. I never knew how easy I had it on a sport bike because of the fact that sport bikes are designed to move as much air out of your way as possible. The Hayabusa itself, they put a lot of money into R&D for that. A lot of money. The supermotos themselves, I got nothing. I got this little DR number plate, which doesn't do anything. I can literally feel, I'm fighting the wind right now. I can literally feel that. So yeah, that's just my take on it. If you feel like having a motard and commuting a very, 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 very far distance is a bad idea, well, maybe you shouldn't do it. I tried to ride this thing from Jacksonville, Florida to Dallas and back. Realized that it's a lot harder than it seemed, and I wasn't really accustomed to the moto. So it was very, very hard. I knew that I wasn't going to make it in the time that I wanted to. So I would spend more money because every night or every day longer that you spend is another hotel you have to buy. At 70 bucks a pop, if you didn't budget yourself for another 140 bucks extra, you're not going to make it. It's going to cut into your stuff very, 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 very much. So, that set aside, I rode it for pretty much the whole panhandle of Florida. I went to Pensacola, so that was, I basically rode on the freeway for about 10 hours that day. That was the day I broke my toe. I was cruising along and wearing a pair of Converse All-Stars, and I shouldn't have been. I I didn't have any boots by that point or riding shoes, so I was following a house too close. And yes, it was a house, not a car. It was a truck trailering a house, and the house had a huge wind wash, and it picked up a cone on the side of the road in a construction area, and the cone flew into the middle of the road, and it got flung at me. So the back end hit my front rotor, and then it hit my toe, which my toe was on top of my peg at that time. And I felt the pop, I felt the snap, and I knew that I had broken it, and it got progressively worse to the point where I couldn't move it, and I couldn't really shift that well. I burned out a set of brakes that way. It was just not fun. So, note to you kids, stay in school.